Okay, so I stopped for a little bit and did a little bit more work on this just so that you can see what it looks like. So basically, I'm starting to go out. So that last, some of my I've been placing the coil on top of the one underneath it to the outside. Now you can see that the inside is pretty smooth. It's because I've been able to kind of hang on to this thing and kind of smooth it. The outside doesn't look so great. So what you can do, and this might have to sit up for a little bit. Now if you have really wet clay, there's two things that can go really, really wrong with coils. Number one, the first thing is you're going to start kind of building this thing, and even though you want it to go straight up, it's going to start going out. The reason why is this. It's because and I'll just practice on this. This is a cylinder that we usually throw on the wheel. But if you are constantly putting pressure towards something to the outside and you're not using counter pressure, so you're just smoothing it like this, you're actually stretching your clay out. So what you want to do is you just kind of want to put your hand on the outside while you smooth the inside. Okay. Now my inside is pretty smooth. My outside, not so much. So what you might want to do is you might want to pick it up and do a little bit of hand smoothing to the outside, spend a little time on it. Or what you can do is you can start using your ribs. So these ribs, even the ones that you made yourself, are going to be pretty flexible, okay? In order to smooth this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up with the rib and then go sideways. So, and sometimes you got to get this even taller to start smoothing the outside really well. You know, you would not be doing a final finish on something when you're not even done with the form. So what you can do is you can start by, you know, sort of using your ribs sideways in small strokes. Okay, that'll start to smooth out some of this here. And then once you get a little bit more height on it, you might want to start using a paddle. Now, paddles are for clay, not for people. What could you use as a paddle? This is an official paddle. You could use a piece of toilet paper tube that's squashed down. You could use that as a paddle. You could use a ruler as a paddle. Okay, this one's a little bit flimsy. You could use just a piece of cardboard. Wondering if I have a piece of cardboard here that you could use. You could use pretty much anything that's flat that you can just hit onto the side of your project. Now, what does paddling do? It actually smooths out all the lumpy bumpy stuff. So if I was to paddle my project, I would pick it up very carefully, and then I would, you know, don't hit it. Don't take out your anger on it. What you want to do is just, you know, very gently tap on it and paddle it. Now, this one still would need a little bit of work with the scraper or with your rib. Call it one of either of those things. And what you can do is you can just, you know, pick it up and use it. But again, sometimes this takes a little bit more firmer clay to really start to smooth this out. Now, there is one other tool you might want to make, and you know, we had a couple of these. They're really kind of like cheap turntables. Okay, this is the official one. I also have one that looks like this. Okay, that's the official turntables. If you were to make one of these, what you could do is you could take a piece of plastic, again, one of those yogurt tins. take some newspaper, ball it up, and tape it to the bottom of this thing, and then you should be able to, you know, kind of rest your piece on here. So I'll just do this. So I just happen to have some orange masking tape. And so then I would put this onto the bottom of my yogurt tin. And I would just tape it on. And then what you could have is not the greatest turntable ever, but you know, it's just off the table a little bit. Another thing you could use as a turntable is, again, one of these. You know, you can turn it upside down and then put your project on top of it. It just allows you to kind of turn it without doing too much touching of your clay. You probably would want to use something with a smaller top on it. But those are just a couple of ideas of how to use a turntable. Finally, your project is going to need to be between 4 and 6 inches high. So this is probably going to take you like 2 or 3 times to do this, okay, or 2 or 3 sessions. What I would do to store this is you don't want to put a lot of water on it. If you can, you know, use your piece of cardboard, put your project on it, and then bag the project again. So you might have, you know, your 2 pounds of clay off to the side, maybe sort of put both things onto your, and then I have that damp paper towel. It's still damp. It's getting a little moldy, which is okay. It's not gonna hurt you at all. I might just throw the damp paper towel in the, don't wrap stuff up, just throw it into the bag, and then pick up your bag with your board. And this is why having a piece of cardboard is really helpful, because otherwise stuff will fall on the floor. You don't want that. And then make sure that your bag gets tucked under. Okay, so that is the beginning of the candle holder and a little bit of kind of working on it. Good luck.